This is Psych in my life. Shall we begin? At night, I don't sleep very well. Sometimes I lay awake for 3 or 4 hours because I can't fall asleep. I think I have mild insomnia. Is that a legit thing? I don't even know. Anyway, this happens at least 3 times a week, and when I have a lot of stuff going on, it's even worse. I think I inherited this from my mom because she can be seen at 0200 hours on the computer researching a variety of things because she can't sleep either. I don't know if this is an actual disorder though because I haven't had a sleep study. I'm just self-diagnosing myself. My dad has some sort of sleep issue also because he doesn't sleep very well either. He had a sleep study and they tried to give him some meds or made him do something, but it didn't work well. So he's just eternally sleepless. I suppose I have bad genes for good sleep. Although my older and younger sister both have no problem sleeping until 1400 on a Saturday afternoon. Although I'd rather not talk about it, middle school was a prime example of David Elkin's idea of personal fable. I thought I was the only one that had a boyfriend, as in just another pubescent 7th grade boy that I texted a bunch, and when I saw him in person it was just like, oh, hey, and that was it. I thought I was so cool, and that I was the only person doing this kind of thing. I know, it was 7th grade. Let's not talk about it. I also have a little sister who's a freshman. And literally, whenever I try to get her to talk to me about her drama at school, she just says, Maddie, you don't get it, okay? She thinks that her drama is completely novel and never happened to anyone else. When I learned of one specific event, I was like, yo, Liz Biz, the same thing literally happened to me when I was a freshman. I get it. And you know what she said to me? No, you don't, Maddie. Just leave me alone. I have 2 words besides personal fable to describe this behavior. Teen angst. Another of Elkin's ideas is imaginary audience. This happens to me all the time whenever I walk down the hallway in the morning and people are sitting on either side of the hallway. I always think they're looking at me as I walk by, but then I remind myself, wait, nobody cared. I also fall victim to imaginary audience whenever I'm trying to park and I can't pull in immediately because I overshot it and I have to reverse and then drive forward a little and then reverse again. I always think people are looking at me and judging me, but they're most likely not. Unless they are, which would be awkward. Anywho, I think I know who I am, but I feel like in college my personal beliefs will be challenged and now I find out a lot about myself. According to Eric Erickson, I am in the 5th stage of development, identity versus role confusion. Also, at college, I won't be around my parents all the time who, whether I admit it or not, affect my decisions a lot. At college, there will be a lot of situations that I have never encountered before. Based on my experiences, I may end up more confused about who I am, or I may end up knowing myself even more. Hopefully the latter. My older sister is 20, and I think she's in the 6th stage of development, intimacy versus isolation. She already knows her morals, she knows who she is and what she's going to be doing for the rest of her life. However, in college, she's become isolated and has told me that she gets lonely sometimes and doesn't really have a lot of friends. I'm really concerned about this, being her sister and all, and I want to make sure that she finds intimacy and not isolation. She has a boyfriend who's really great, but she doesn't really have any close relationships outside of him and family. I learn best with rewards and punishments. My mom unknowingly uses operant conditioning while parenting. So, to bring back this example that everyone laughed at, when it was college app season last fall, my mother used negative punishment, or threatened negative punishment, to get me to get my college apps done. She said, get your essays done or I will take that book away. It worked very well. In fact, that is the only sort of punishment that she threatens me with now, because she knows it will work. Another thing that my mom does a lot is positive reinforcement. She will give me and my sisters a lot of praise for the things that we do well so that we will continue that behavior. For example, this past Mother's Day at church, I wrote a reflection telling the congregation how grateful that I am for my mom, how much I love her, blah blah blah, and she loved it. So, next year, I think I will do the same thing because she gave me positive feedback. I am completely extroverted, and according to the psychologist, Carl Jung, I have many of the traits needed for extroversion. I have to talk out loud and I have to be with people and just put myself out there. When I communicate, I just like talking to the person instead of texting or making a Facebook group because talking is way more efficient. I have to experience the world, and I like making friends while I do it. My little sister, on the other hand, is so introverted. She literally is just holed up in her room from after school until dinner, during which she says maybe 3 words and only when asked a direct question. She is definitely a think before I act type of person, which is completely opposite of me, I feel. Believe it or not, I can be kind of impulsive. I guess that's just because my frontal lobe isn't developed yet. Although I'm a middle kid, I think I have more of the tendencies of an oldest child, even though Alfred Adler would say otherwise. I'm a leader and will be going into a leadership position when I get out of college. I don't coast through the middle and do the minimum work. I work super hard on everything that I do, no matter what it is. My little sister is totally the perfect example of what Adler thought a youngest child would be like. She is kind of a slacker because she knows that me and my older sister will do the work/talk for her as far as chores and family discussions are concerned. Like sweeping. She never has to sweep, and I always have to sweep. She's also babied all the time and doesn't have half the rules that my older sister or I had when we were freshmen in high school. I'm so optimistic sometimes, I think people want to hit me. I always see the best in any situation because I feel that if you look at the world via a negative glass, it just won't be as beautiful or as enjoyable. This past lacrosse season, we didn't do too hot, but I always told my team that we can only get better and that this game was a fresh start. Another example is when I stay up really late doing homework or working on a painting or something, and I really want to go to bed, but I have to finish. I always tell myself that I will get the project done. All I have to do is work a little while longer. I always finish my projects. Instead of saying, no, I can't do it, I am always positive and tell myself it will be done and it will be amazing. I also think I'm pretty altruistic. I help people whenever I get the chance. Even if it's not something big, I still do everything I can for other people. For example, my friend was admitted to the hospital a couple weeks ago, and I went and visited him before practice, even though I had a ton of stuff to do. I got him a card and all that jazz. Why wouldn't you help someone out? That's my philosophy anyway. Also, I always pick up keys that people have dropped or turn in money that was lost. For example, in 5th grade, my friend and I found $350 lying in the middle of the street. No joke. We picked it up and counted it. While she was doing the math to divide it evenly, I was trying to figure out a way to call the police to turn in the money. We ended up turning it in. I would not let anything else happen. And my friend and I got a plaque from the Palatine Police Department to honor our good decision. So, I guess this altruistic behavior has gone way back for me. I definitely have an internal locus of control because I believe that I can make a difference no matter the situation or the people involved. Even if it's the most crowded, horrible place in the world, I can still make a difference. I think that willpower is a powerful thing, and if you really want something, then you have every capability to get it for yourself. This aspect is important in leadership too. If the leader doesn't believe that they can change the situation, how will the followers do anything the leader says? In lacrosse, as a captain, I have to not only set an example for my team, but I also have to believe that I can make an impact during the game. This allows me to be a more effective leader, as well as a better player. As I will be in ROTC in the fall, having an internal locus of control is really important, because again, I will be a leader, and I will be in control of a lot of different situations, many of them being highly stressful. Having this internal locus of control will help me be more successful because I won't ever consider the option that some unforeseen difficulty will control the mission/plan/objective. Well, that was Psych in my life. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below or on #FHSPsych.